Enjoy your stay.
Alright, welcome back to Space Station 14. This will be another round taking place on Wizard's Den's Lizard server, and this will be one of the few successful zombie operations ever made. The zombie operation, when using nuclear operatives, relies on buying the zombie bundle, costs 40 TC, which is basically an entire agent's budget. I'll be making the other agents pay their share of the zombie bundle, since it's going to be the entire team's plan. The zombie bundle contains a syringe of Romerol with enough Romerol in it to turn 3 people into zombies. And also, 3 doses of the cure in case you get infected, and a python and some flame ammunition. Anyway, the zombie operation is a very tricky thing to pull off because usually the nukies just die to their own zombies and it just becomes a regular zombie round. Anyway, here I do a bit of a mistake. I'm looking at the nuclear code, making sure that it's our or the station's nuke, and I forget to note down in my notepad application the code, which is what I usually do. So that'll come up later. Anyway, I also buy an energy sword, which is basically all you need to know about my setup is that I have an energy sword, the regular, no-slip, agent ID, and a python. That's all that we're going to be using anyway. Also, here's the plan, recapped. Just, in a short. It's been like 20 minutes that we've been preparing for this, so I just cut it down a lot. The nuclear plushie says, to recap on the plan, we rush the QM for his digiboard, which is what allows the QM to buy from a distance. Take it and buy monkey cubes, put the monkeys in a crate to kill them, infect them, and unleash the horde on the station. Now, there's a bit of a couple of steps missing on this plan, which is that what happens after the horde of zombies... Dang it, doggy. What happens after the horde of zombies is released. Basically, you're supposed to run away from your own zombies and not die to them. Let them spread on the station while you attack the captain. Anyway, we made our way to cargo. And we're about to get our first big lucky break. This operation is full of lucky breaks for us, which is why it was able to be pulled off successfully. Anyway, we make our way to cargo for the first step of the plan. Attack the QM and steal their digiboard. To buy monkeys to infect with the zombie virus. We enter through the shuttle, which is docked. And I get an idea to hide in a crate for some eye-action infiltration. Now, we'll be lucky. Cargo is basically 2 people.
Attention.
It's very, very understaffed right now. I don't know that yet. Also, we'll be using round replays today to get to some of the more finer details I wasn't able to personally witness during my play of the round. Anyway, we go full Metal Gear as we hide in a crate and wait for the quartermaster to arrive. Here's a random cargo tech. We're waiting to see if he's gonna undock or not. Then should happen soon. Then the quartermaster arrives. So they'll jump out, use their gun so I don't rush in and get shot. There's no gravity on the station for some reason. I stay on the shuttle to make sure that it doesn't fly away. I have to make sure to ask the others to regroup inside of here. Now, we've killed the only 2 witnesses. People didn't call us out on comms. The other operators are breaking the shuttle consoles on station, so people won't be able to recall the shuttle from a distance. I make sure to take the QM's ID, so we can copy their access, particularly command access. And I also make sure to loot the digiboard, so we can buy monkeys. It's inside their backpack. And we undock. Undetected. A very lucky break for us. Now, we don't know that we're undetected right now. We think that the station has seen us or something, or called us out. And we can't know because we don't have station comms. But we'll get proof later on. Anyway, step 1 of the plan, done. And it worked out much better than expected. We didn't break stealth, so we have all the time in the world to do our operation. Anyway, we make our way to the trade station. We have some bounties on board, so we can make even more money, just in case the quartermaster didn't have any money, but they do. So I make sure to buy monkey cubes. I make a mistake here. I don't change my ID. Right now, all it says is blank passenger bought monkey cubes on the communications channels, which is very suspicious. I could have had the QM's ID inside of my PDA to make sure people think it's the QM that's buying the monkey cubes to not arouse suspicion. But we'll be lucky the captain and the HOP and nobody else in cargo noticed that anything was wrong. Anyway, we spend a lot of money on cubes. I make sure not to spend all of the money. Also, we have steel to make a cage so that we can kill the monkeys without them running away. Now we have a giant pile of monkey cubes, and we're trying to find some way to get some water on it. We looted water bottles from the quartermaster and the cargo tech, but it's not going to do the trick. So I think of something on the spot. We can use a fire extinguisher to do a spray of water, and we just happen to have the means to buy basically anything we want. Now guys, if you're doing a normal operation and you manage to get this far without being detected, and with the quartermaster's thing, just buy some guns. Just buy some guns. It'll be a lot more efficient and with less risks involved. But we're keeping going with the zombie plans. We already spent the telecrystals on it. It's too late to back out now. I now notice that the crew doesn't know because they just ordered glass. So it means that they don't know that we've taken over the ATM or that anything is wrong with cargo. And now we go and kill all the monkeys and stuff them into crates, 3 crates, to infect and spread on the station. So we make our way to evac, which is right next to the AI core, the command bridge, and security for maximum devastation. We dock and start moving out the crates. Now this is where the plan was finished. You know, you remember the plan? Get the horde on the station and infect them? Yeah, well that means that from now on people are gonna spread out doing their own personal plan of how they think things are gonna play out. So people infect the monkeys, I go back on the shuttle because I'm thinking we're going to infect people and just leave and let the zombies spread so we don't get infected. However, people are getting chased by the zombies that are being infected, even though there's one zombie that's infecting more zombies, the others are just running around. Somebody just went out and got into a shootout. I'm just staying back on the shuttle to not get infected by the Zeds. I make sure that to undock so that if somebody comes back on the shuttle, they won't be able to attract all the zombies on them because they'll be in space. Slightly. Somebody ended up in the maintenance tunnels. All they have to do to get back on the shuttle is go to space, but it'll be much harder than that. All the others are a no response on the comms. They probably got killed by the zombies. That's what I'm thinking anyway. So I try and make a plan, the next step of the plan, which is to regroup after the zombies, away from the zombies, to attack the captain and get a nuclear disc. People won't be able to buy guns from cargo, and the armory's supplies will be spent killing the zombies or getting Zedded. Anyway, as we keep organizing, luckily an engineer stumbles onto our shuttle. Probably trying to run away from the zombies. So I kill them. They don't have their backpack because they were using a jetpack, so I can't steal their RCD, which would be really powerful. But I steal their ID and their communications, so I can hear what's going on the station on the crew side, get a clue as to how things are going. So luckily I have a full tool belt, a tool supply in my backpack. Wire cutter, screwdriver, welder.
The emergency shuttle has been
People call evac, so now we have a time limit on the time it's going to take to do our operation. 10 minutes plus however long evac is going to be. Turns out it's going to be very, very long. Because both the evac docking locations will be overrun and inaccessible. So the evac shuttle will be off into space, and with a 5-minute time limit, plus whatever time is going to take for them to transfer. So we have 15, maybe 16, 18 minutes to nuke the station. Also, I hear on comms that the captain died, and the nuke says that they killed Cap. The commander is screaming at us as to where we are, but we've been talking on communications this entire time, so it's more the commander's fault for not listening. Anyway, I tried to make my way back on the station to get to the bridge, because that's where the captain died. There's some zombies hanging out in space. I have to try and kill them as much as possible. I hear you do a bit of juking around the AI. This is I don't know if this is a player or an AI, but they get spaced. I make my way towards evac when I notice something weird. I want to use evac because it's near the bridge. And, you know, it might be overrun by zombies, but it could be spread out by now. But I see that there's a big plasma fire, which seems unlucky. However, using replay, we can know the exact source of this plasma fire, right where our zombies were. You see, it was a randomly generated gas leak. You can see that the agent was turned, and they have dropped their energy sword. The energy sword is burning, so it lights the plasma that was randomly leaked by a random event, which is gonna kill all the zombies that are still on station. But thankfully, the other nukies who ran in attracted more zombies, which made them spread around the station. Anyway, I take this time to break the glasses so that the gas can leak, and people can maybe, hopefully, go towards evac and not towards us, wherever we happen to be. Anyway, at this point I'm pretty sure everybody died. I've been talking to them, but no real response. Since I have engineering access, I'm gonna use this little port here next to engineering to infiltrate the station, which is... Engineering has a link between it and the bridge that I can use to infiltrate the bridge, or exfiltrate, as we'll see. I make my way in, drop the jetpack. At this point I'm basically alone, so I have to make sure I survive as long as possible. A zombie breaks in, is the head of security, which is weird because look, they came in from maintenance, so they had to come all the way from evac to here. Anyway, I make sure not to finish them off because I want them to keep infecting people. That was the whole point of having zombies anyway, but I do want their ID. And maybe their special weapons, the WT-50, 550, or the energy shotgun. But they have neither. So I make sure to damage them enough to not be revived while I'm here. I copy their ID access. I check their backpack for weapons, but all they have is regular ammo, which I should have taken because my Viper uses this kind of ammo, but I don't think of it. So I've been bitten a couple of times, I take the cure, to make sure I don't take poison damage and or turn into a zombie halfway through the operation. I try to make my way towards the bridge. I don't pick up an RCD, which was another mistake. I could have picked that up. That would be very powerful for infiltration. Can deconstruct any walls, any regular walls or doors. Anyway, instead I take the maintenance path that goes right in front of the bridge, so we can get a good look at what's inside. I can see the dead captain, ID on the ground, and somebody else who's dressed as a captain. So I pick up my Viper. It's going to be a single target assassination, basically, and unload on them. They weren't moving, they weren't shooting back. It was an easy kill.
Attention.
And now we go towards the captain and steal their backpack so I can get their nuclear disc. I don't check their pocket. There probably was the laser pistol in there, which would have been useful. I take the bolt, the command door remote, so I can bolt doors and open them at a distance, nullifying the AI, at least while on the bridge. I also remember to take the all-access ID, which is not on the ground, it's on this guy. But, there we go. Outside, people are still fighting zombies. It's not like security using their limited supplies on killing Zeds. Anyway, I use the exfiltration route to avoid the zombies in the corridor right in front of the bridge. I go instead towards engineering, which I know is more secure than the others because I didn't meet any zombies while I was inside, except for the ones that came from maintenance. The station AI is here, but also a Tesla came loose. I didn't do that. None of the other nukies did that. It wasn't part of the plan either. So It must have been the Zeds, or maybe a traitor. Thankfully, we have replay to see what happened. It'll be quite interesting. Just give me a second. It'll come up right away. So this is the Tesla containment room. Here you can see a zombified engineer who tried to bite a wire and got stunned. Now they make their way towards the emitter and start biting on it. But you might notice these emitters aren't locked. They're unlocked. Which usually wouldn't be a problem because they're an engineer, but now they can just turn them off while a zombie by alt-clicking. Interesting fun fact. This is what loosed the Tesla. Anyway, back on my side. While this is not very zombie-like, it does help me out a lot, so I'm not going to complain much. The zombies drop their gloves when they zombify, so they're going to get electrified by the Tesla loose. The regular crew probably doesn't have insulated gloves, so I'm basically the Tesla helps me a lot more than it hurts me. However, there is a risk. The Tesla, if it touches me, is going to kill me instantly. So as long as you avoid it, it should be fine, right? Uh-oh. The Tesla's right here and almost manages to eat me, killing me instantly. But I only take some explosion damage from all the stuff blowing up. Anyway, we make our way towards the vault, which is on the left side of the station, opposite of the bridge, near cargo. Here you can see a chemist being chased by a zombie. Thankfully I don't fight them, so they're distracting them long enough for me. Here you can see more zombies being fought by salvagers, or people with salvager weapons. As long as I don't fight the zombies personally, they're doing their job, helping more than they're hurting. I go inside the nuclear vault, which means now only the station AI or the command personnel will be able to get in here, or Borgs. But honestly, Borgs can't do much. They can't hurt me because I have a crew ID. All they can do is really open up the vault and de-arm the nuke. Anyway, as you can see, I didn't note down the nuclear codes in my PDA, so I have to look them in my chat log, trying very, very hard to find the correct location. And here we are, 330153. So you press the number, press enter, and then arm the bong. So, what do we do now? We're not doing so hot on health. We took some explosion damage, so I have to heal up a bit. And some minor bites. The AI has unbolted the door. And the Borg is trying to come in here and defuse, but they can't really. If they try and defuse, I can just break them. They can't defend themselves because I'm crew. So I just bolt the door again. These to make it harder for other people, to zombies or stuff to come in, and I turn off the APC. Now the AI can't open it again, which means it's now bolted for real, so they have to either break the walls or break the door to come in here. And I also heal up. I don't have any medicine, the agent was the one with those. Never really got to get healed, but I do have a combat medkit for just this kind of situation. So, we hide in the fridge and start healing. And I speak out loud for all the dead people right now watching this. They've had to deal with a Tesla loose and zombies, so I'm expecting a high casualty rate. Now, I do have an EMP implant, which I could use to take out all the power from the Borg, and you have to go and reload, or more likely, never get their energy again. But I don't think of using it until it's way, way, way too late. I'm trying to weld the door, but it doesn't seem like it's welding very well. So I just go back and hide. I'm as healed as I can be. So now I try to organize my weaponry, take stock of what I have. I didn't pick up the Catton's laser pistol. This energy shield is not doing anything for me. It's mostly all melee combat anyway. I put a python in my belt so now I can quickly access it if I need to.
The emergency shuttle has
The
arrived
emergency
at the
shuttle
station.
has arrived at the station, but because all of the ports are blocked, it's hanging out in space and has a longer time before it departs. In fact, it's longer than the nuke, so the nuke will go off before the evac shuttle will depart. There's an infected mouse. I just do a quick leaving to attack it a bit, but now I realize that the station is spaced, so I put on back my mask and my helmet in my air. I can also see that the wall over here has been destroyed a bit. If someone has a wrench, they can now unwrench the girder and access the vault. So I try to repair the wall. Somebody unwrenches it, but they can't manage to drag it away far enough. So I just wrench it back. I don't have enough plasteel to make it a full wall, but I have enough to remake it as a girder. So I just rebuild it. As this happens, a horde of zombies comes by, killing the other alive crew. Zombies can't defuse the nuke, so I'm not worried about them. I'm worried about the Borg. Zombies won't attack Borgs, at least they shouldn't. So the Borg, if it's left alive, could try and defuse the bomb. So it's my #1 priority target. I managed to make the zombie blow up while shooting it, and I hide in the fog. The Borg comes in, I noticed that the Borg came in, so I try and go towards it while hiding in the fog. I hit it a couple times. Somebody with a stunner attacks me, but I drop the Borg, and I just now realized I have an EMP implant. So even if the Borg does get recharged or repaired somehow, it won't be able to defuse because it has no power. And now we're all zombified. And because I was cuffed while I was zombified, I can't attack. But that's fine. The zombies can't defuse the bomb. The Borg has been killed. It's basically a victory lap now. And I can kill any alive crew who comes in and tries to defuse the bomb. With a horde on my back. Now people in the out-of-character chat talk about the fact that they've never seen zombie ops work before. Just as the timer starts finishing up, another horde of zombie comes by. And another Borg, but it's way too late now. I think I can still use my EMP implant while I'm zombified. Not sure about that. But, so it ends. The nuclear bomb goes off, and fun fact, the next round will be bugged. Because the shuttle just departs right after the nuclear bomb went off, while the round ending timer goes off, it'll make the next round 1 minute long before it ends automatically. Anyway, that was fun. See you around. Bye-bye.